So talking about starting a fitness routine for 2020, certain things that you got to look out for before you set goals, what to look for, what to address before we even start setting goals. Beginning an exercise program. So basically, this hopefully will be a bit of help and for anyone who's starting a new routine or anyone who's a trainer who's training someone. I'm just going to take you through how to set goals and how to prioritize and assess for starting a program, because obviously whenever you start some exercise routine you do want to have some type of direction. So a lot of people who are about to start the routine, they get really scared. There's a lot of things that they don't understand and they're not used to or aware of, and they find it quite daunting. So I'm just going to break it down and keep it quite simple. So basically, if you're about to start any exercise routine, first things you want to look out for is two main things. Do you have any injuries or health conditions that are going to keep you away from doing regular exercise or are considered as contraindications to exercise? So these are things that if you exercise going to be detrimental to you, and there's a few factors involved. Because I'm level 3 register of exercise professional trainer. I've been for over 10 years, so that's my background. So I do have some background knowledge in exercise. I've been a trainer for over 10 years. So if you've got physical injury and you haven't had physio or any rehabilitation to it, that might be the first point of call. The second aspect is if you've got a health condition that you can only have medically supervised exercise. For example, you've got a heart condition or there's various conditions that you'd have to check with GP, and they can put you through to a specialised trainer, and there's a lot of referral schemes. So the two factors that I definitely recommend looking out for: if you're injured, then you need to go through physio and get rehab, and if you've got any special conditions, like health conditions, then I recommend going to the GP and getting referred onto an exercise referral scheme. For example, some people use that as a barrier towards doing exercise, but you have to keep in mind that if you're not active, then any level of activity brings you out of being sedentary, and then later you can improve it. And an exercise referral scheme is a safe way of doing that. So if you have there's a number of conditions where you can be referred by your GP to an exercise referral scheme, and that can be addressed, and you can have a specialised instructor to guide you through your exercise programs. But general public won't have conditions that will limit you from doing exercise, but always best to check. And there's one major check. If you're injury free and you're not aware of conditions, the one major check that I recommend is doing a heart rate and blood pressure test, and that you can do at a GP, any GP surgery. You can even do it at home if you've got a blood pressure reader. Once you've checked your blood pressure, if your blood pressure's within the normal limits, you want the top number systolic between 100 and 140. That's when the blood's going away from the heart. You want the bottom number diastolic between 60 and 90. And if that's in the normal range, you should be fine to exercise unless you've got different underlying conditions. And obviously your heart rate, we want it below 90, closer to 60. So that's just a safe way to start, a safe place to start. And it's something that you can just DIY check at home, even if you've got a blood pressure reader, or if not, you can go check your GP. And that's something I recommend for trainers who are working with someone new, and anyone who's like starting off getting into exercise, because it doesn't matter if you've had a long layoff, if you haven't been active for over 6 months, then you need to see if you've been sedentary for that long. You're basically starting with a cardio system that's a little bit deconditioned. So see where you are, and then you can build it up from there. So once your blood pressure and heart rate's in a normal zone, a healthy zone that you can exercise, then the next thing you want to think about is what you've done in terms of previous exercise, your exercise history. So you should look at the level of training that you've had, because you can't set yourself a goal to win this year's Olympics if you've just started that sport. That's like an unrealistic aim. So you got to start to measure out and be realistic about the kind of approach that you're going to have towards your exercise routine for the year. That's obviously we're setting long-term yearly targets. So there's definitely how you set goals. You should have like a long-term objective, like a halfway, a mid-term, and like a micro objective. So there should be like you can set it 6 to 12 weeks, 3 months to 6 months, and then a year. There's 3 different times of monitoring your certain goals, setting certain goals, which you can monitor frequently throughout that time period. But those give you little like stepping stones to work towards. Alright, so what I'm going to do in the next video, I'm going to talk about setting your goals in a lot more detail and explain a little bit more about how exercise history is going to play into that, and how to really set goals and tasks to develop a routine for a long-term basis, as well as how to have your short-term objectives to meet those long-term goals.